is such a great person, and I feel so fortunate to even know him, and I'm so honored for him to be here tonight. He has a hell of a background, a hell of a story that he's going to tell you guys about today. But you know, some of his major things: he's a sales executive at Vacasa, founder of Premate Media, a registered yoga teacher. He could have done yoga downstairs.
Yeah, I thought we were all going to go down there.
Maybe we'll do yoga
next time.
Right now. I don't know,
hey,
but,
maybe you never know.
And yeah, we're very excited to welcome him, and he's going to talk to us about health, business, entrepreneurship. And the time is now to figure it out. So
that's it, man. Well, it's an honor. Thank you so much, John. Yeah, and thank you everyone for just having me here. Just really grateful. I realized I forgot to share my my New Year's resolution, and it's actually more public speaking. So here we are, living it. Thank you, John. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So I actually created some of these sheets, and I'm going to pass them around. If you can just take one, as well as grabbing a pen. You know, I like to be very interactive with, you know, the speeches. I don't want to just be lecturing you. And so just going to talk about some of the principles that led me to, you know, achieve the things that I have, but more importantly, just making that difference. And, you know, it really starts down to those principles in life and the values that you live by. And, you know, the story, right? We all have a story. And that's kind of my tagline with Premate Media, is that, you know, we all have a story, and here we are bringing it to life. Now I bring it to life through video, but everybody has their own kind of creative outlet in which they bring their story to life. So we're just going to do, I know we already did introductions, but I'd love to hear from each one of you as far as when you were younger, you know, what did you want to be? Like, what was your dream when you were a kid? And Mario, I'll start with you.
Well, between two things, either a comic book artist or a Greek historian.
What was the first one?
A comic book artist.
Comic book artist, okay. Nice, man, yeah. So big into comic books when you were younger? Yeah. Still
kind of.
Still am, yeah. That's awesome.
Always.
Yeah.
So, comic book artist yet?
I draw, but...
Okay.
Yes, you are, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, I have
he's being
seen
humble.
his drawings.
Okay.
His doodles that are like wildly amazing.
Love it. And it just starts with something small like that, man. You know, so love to hear you doing that.
All right, Lee.
Lee?
Yeah, so, yeah, I kind of always wanted to do like acting, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the inspiration for that?
My family always used to watch movies, and I guess that was kind of like our thing together, so yeah, that always.
Movies, all right.
Yeah.
Nice. John?
I mean, I'm not trying to be coy, but I'm kind of living my dream a little bit right now. I always liked technology. I've always been involved in technology. And it's served me very well. You know, those little personality tests that you do, that was what I feel like I was meant to do. I want to bring technology to everybody and really make it accessible to people that may be scared of technology or not understand it. I've always strived to be that kind of person, and that's what I'm doing at CSX right now.
The tech guy. Yeah, and the drones
and the
too,
drone
man.
well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Big things this year, man. Love it. Congrats on everything.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Destiny, what was the dream being as a kid?
Man, I always wanted to be super involved in the arts, which I am. Not to copy both of you, but essentially to copy both of you. I wanted to be an actress growing up. Watched movies all the time with my dad, and then I kind of grew up and started to want to make movies and direct and those things. And then just be an artist, just make art.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to do. There was a time when I was like 7, and Mom always says that I was drawing, and I was just like, Mom, I want to do this for the rest of my life. And she had to remind me of that recently, which kind of helped me get back into art.
That's awesome. Well, Destiny, I know I've shared this with you before, but your creativity always inspires me. Like, I feel like every time I go on Instagram, I see Destiny doing something new. I'm like, damn, like, how is she? Destiny's all over. Like, seriously, it's just incredible. And like, to hear that was the dream as a kid, and now you're being able to, you know, live that dream and continue to build it, right? That's awesome. Yeah, hey, that's it. That's the biggest part, is trying.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Hunt?
Yeah, I guess for a while, when I was younger, I wanted to be a marine biologist. I had a lot of just really cool interactions with nature and animals examples growing up that I'm super grateful for. That didn't happen because I guess science, interestingly enough, wasn't always my favorite subject. If there was math involved, then I was, it wasn't going to go well. But I still find ways to be in nature for sure. Yeah, I know you mentioned you surf, and I do a little bit of that as well.
Oh, where do you surf?
Mostly just Jack's Beach.
Okay.
Yeah,
By the pier?
a little further south.
South. Okay. Yeah. Pier gets crazy, so
Yeah,
I don't blame
exactly.
you. Yeah.
So, I still find ways to be in nature in that way, around a lot of cool aquatic life and whatnot. So,
Nice, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Sweet.
So
Patrick?
I was kind of weird, and I wanted to be a stockbroker.
Maybe it's a good thing you're not living your dream, because that can be very stressful. Yeah. What did your parents have you watching, like CNBC or like what's that financial channel? The MSNBC? Yeah. Seeing the tickers, we're like, ooh. Bloomberg, yeah. But no, I'm curious. So really, genuinely, what was kind of the inspiration wanting to do that?
Wall Street and like
Okay.
several other movies. Like,
Yeah, exotic cars, skyscrapers, little cocaine. Right? I mean, hey, Wall Street lives on cocaine. Let's be honest here.
Politicians and just honestly, I kind of like idolized corporate raiders and everything, and then
Isn't there that Danny DeVito movie where he's like does mergers and acquisitions? Okay, never mind.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about, actually.
Murders and acquisitions. That's a good premise for a movie.
I know what you're talking about.
We got some actors in the room, so some film directors. I think we're onto something, guys. We might, yeah.
We'll figure it.
We can get the plot from ChatGPT real quick.
Chat GPT. Oh my God. We can go on a whole tangent off that.
awesome, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I've been
Do your
chatting.
work for you. It's amazing.
Well, we'll talk.
All you need to do is any presentation you do, just go to ChatGPT, just type in like what it is.
Dude, you're selling me out, man. That's how I got this, man. Quiet down, man. This is how I did this. I just put it in Chat GPT.
John, the power.
I was gonna say, yeah, you're lucky the chat
If you work in
bot wasn't
corporate
talking.
America and you need policy standards, anything, just go in there, say what you need.
Yeah.
I know,
spit it out
man.
For you, done.
It's incredible. Incredible.
Yeah.
So,
Go down.
Too far.
Dylan, dream?
Yes, my dream when I was little, I wanted to be like an inventor or like an architect, where where I could create something. Like my dream is to create something that, when I'm dead, oh look, for example, like the guy who invented the shape of a Coke bottle, like that the shape of the Coke bottle is gonna be there forever and ever. That's kind of what I want.
Having that legacy that lives on from something you created.
Yes.
I love that. Alex?
So I kind of bounce around in what I wanted to do in the world. So,
Sure.
Originally, I kind of got into astronomy, and that's kind of what I wanted to do at first. Be an astronomer, like observe comets, planets, stuff like that.
Nice.
Ooh, there's a comet coming. We'll talk after.
Allie has a lot of conversations after, yeah.
Everyone meet me afterwards.
That's a great conversation at dinner.
I got a telescope, and so I was a little hobby that lasted for a while. But,
Yeah.
so I didn't stick too much, but I knew I wanted to do something with science. I mean, I always played with Legos. I always took stuff apart, I just put it back together, and just make these crazy models. And it was, over time, I kind of knew that science was kind of where I wanted to go. So, sure enough, in high school, took physics, and that's where I decided I wanted to be an engineer.
Yeah, and here you are now, engineer. And it all started with that dream as a kid. That's awesome, man. Zach?
All right, well, I think when I was a kid, I wanted to be a math teacher,
Okay.
which is kind of like
Big numbers guy? You like numbers?
Well, I was good at math.
Okay.
And like at the time I was good with kids and stuff, so it's like, oh,
As
to
a
be a
kid,
math
you were-
you know.
I'm great with my peers.
I'm still really good with kids, and like I help out with like Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts and all that. So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
easy. Yeah. But I'll probably do that later on in life.
Okay.
Engineer while I
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
Then when I get older and I'm just like, oh, I
Yeah,
don't want to do
retirement
engineering
game.
anymore. Go teach.
Yeah.
But it's that, you know, that gift of giving, right? You've had that experience, that knowledge, and there's no greater joy than giving it back what you know. So it's a good plan, man. I love it. Awesome. I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Samuel.
Samu?
Yep.
Okay.
Samuel.
Yeah.
So I think my first dream kind of gig was I want to be a musician or like an entertainer of some sort. And then I did music for 12 years and realized it's not what I want to do. Professional musicianship does not pay very well.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I became an engineer and do that. But what I want to do with my life is just be helpful to the people in the community. So I think this is a really good place for me to be.
Yeah.
Something I've always strived to do when I can. That's why I am an engineer, because I make enough money to give money back to other things.
That's why I became.
That's great.
Hey.
And it's not just about giving the money, it's also about getting involved, man. Roll up the sleeves, get in there. So that's awesome, man. I love to hear it. Thanks for sharing.
I wanted to be a fashion designer and a CEO.
Okay.
But I was always like building things out of like crazy stuff. So like I paid for college making dresses out of actual trash. So it kind of just like happened naturally. And I was the kind of person like everybody else wanted to like play with dolls and stuff, and I was like, my doll's the CEO. Your doll needs to take my doll's notes.
The boss. The boss. Yeah.
Tell us how you really feel about leadership.
I used to force my sister to be my secretary.
Oh my gosh.
Like as a little kid. We like trade off whose like day it was to choose what we were doing. I was like, I'm the CEO now, take my notes.
Opening scene of Murders and Acquisitions.
Yeah. I love it.
I was always like the CEO of something crazy though.
Well, that film is pretty crazy, so it's right up your alley. Yeah. That's it. Oh, well.
Yeah, it was always something wild. I'm like, today I'm the CEO of a cardboard factory that builds cars out of cardboard. Like, just wild things.
Never know. Yeah, Boss Lady Alley coming up with those crazy
and
ideas.
I kind of like that a little bit now too. Like analytics and like consulting with businesses, telling them how to do like crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Their data, like, yeah. And I also make clothes, so that helps too.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Daphne?
I wanted to be a basketball player. I wanted to play
Mm.
basketball in college. That was like as far as
Really?
basketball in college, and then I didn't really know what I wanted to do after that. So that was my aspiration.
Ah. Did you play basketball throughout middle school, high school at all?
That was a crisis because in high school, halfway through, I quit basketball. And kind of, you know, transform what I wanted to do. And then my brother got into the military, and that I then latched on to that. I was like, oh, no,
Yeah.
I'm gonna follow my brother.
Do you still play basketball to this day every now and then, or?
Don't.
No.
I don't want to get hurt.
Yeah.
Because eventually I started getting hurt, and then
I hear ya.
I can't do this anymore.
So,
kind of
I
done everything.
definitely understand. I played basketball throughout high school, and all my injuries since high school have always just been playing basketball.
Yeah.
So I kind of try to limit it as well. It's just not worth it. The reward to risk is not it. So thank you. I was gonna get to that. Come on, man, jumping the gun, man. I'll get to it. But before I do, though, I wanted to do that exercise just to share that. Look, everybody has that story, and maybe even people who have been here for years. Perhaps you didn't even know, what your friend's dream was as a kid. And when we start off as kids, we all have like this fire, this joy, and then like kind of life starts beating down, the responsibilities, and that fire kind of dwindles down, and ash is thrown on it, but it's always there. That ember is always there. And whatever your dreams are, even if you're not working on them as of yet, or maybe things are holding you back, maybe it's just not the right time, maybe things aren't in the right place as they should be. But as long as you still know what that dream was, and you still continue to aspire to someday, at some point, to Zach's point, maybe down the line, and once he's done with his career, maybe that's when you're going to live the dream, or maybe you're living it now. But the dream should always be chasing the dream. That's one of my favorite sayings, and I just somebody asked me like, E, like they saw all the things that I was doing, like, E, like what's a dream, man? You're like, you're doing all these great things. I was like, it just without even thinking, the dream was just to always chase the dream, because as you're chasing, you're growing, you're learning new things, you're gaining new experiences. And so my dream as a kid, and it was probably like just kind of like the most basic dream as a kid, is to be an astronaut, right? Like all the kids want to be an astronaut. Well, I wanted to be an astronaut because my father, he was a rocket scientist for NASA. He used to be. He was actually the first Yugoslavian to get a master's degree in space technology from FIT. And worked on the space shuttle program, built the largest furnaces to grow space crystals, like very fascinating story on what he did. And incredibly intelligent. Like I said, he was the only student from Yugoslavia to come here to the States for that kind of scholarship. And unfortunately, he let his greed and his intellect kind of take the better of him and began using it to manipulate people and, you know, swindle money out of people. And I'm a big believer in karma. And, you know, when you do bad rolls around to you, eventually it may not happen right away. And that's why, you know, living by, you know, truth and service and all those principles are so important, because when you do, you feel at peace with yourself and you help others and you help others find their peace. So, you know, John kind of mentioned about my story. So, you know, when he was doing those things, taking the money and everything, it all eventually came back, and it all fell apart when I was 18 years old. I'm originally from Croatia. I was born there. My parents were from there. All my family was from there. And at the time when that happened, when I was 18 years old, you know, he told me 3 words before he left and before we became homeless. He said, figure it out. And since that point, that's always just been kind of like burned in my mind. It's just always playing back, and I always hear that, figure it out, those last 3 words. And so, you know, starting off 18 years old, no family here. I didn't have any money, no car. Thankfully, I had some really good friends, and that I just developed through basketball, through high school, and they were there for me. And it was that kind of community that I had built just then, early on then, that helped me get out of that. And it gave me a greater appreciation for life and the opportunities that we have. Sometimes it's all really easy for us to, you know, forget just how much we really do have. We see the grind and everybody out doing all these other things that we forget, like kind of the struggle that we came from. So these principles that I'm sharing here, and I'm going to go grab one just so I have one, just so I can kind of participate in this activity with you. These are things that will not only help you achieve your business or entrepreneurial goals or health goals or any of that, and it's simple. They're very simple things, but it's not easy to do. That's the thing. But if you stick with it over a long period of time, subtle changes will start to happen in your life. And you may not notice them immediately, but shifts will happen, and you may live more aligned to kind of what you are and what your truth is. So the mind and the body are the only 2 guaranteed things in life. Money comes and goes. Jobs come and go. Even friends, they come and go. And people, yeah, just whispered it, they come and go. But if you take care of your mind and your body, and it doesn't take a lot, you know, just starting off with 10 minutes a day of some kind of mindful practice, and we each have our own. It doesn't have to be meditation. You know, it could be a prayer. It could be just taking some time outside. Anything that is meaningful to you that you can connect with. And then that 10 minutes of physical activity, that creates that movement. That movement is energy. And that is what allows us to then do more in life. And, you know, it's, again, it's that consistency that makes the difference of doing it over a long period of time. One of my favorite books is The Compound Effect. I blanked on the name of the author. If anybody knows, feel free to help me out. But, you know, it's those little actions day to day that add up over a long period of time. And it's not about doing with the highest intensity. In fact, it's probably the worst thing you can do, because, you know, you're going to get burnt out and you may not stick to what those commitments that you set. And it's not about the luck. It's not about the talent. It's simply about just consistently doing it and just keep flowing, just keep going. Community. I'm sure all of you guys are familiar with just the power of community. I mean, fantastic community that you guys have here at Rotaract. It builds relationships. Relationships build trust. Trust builds opportunities. A prime example is just between Ali, Desi, John, and I, right? It was through the yoga community that I met Ali. Then we built the trust, right? And then it created opportunity for all of us to work together and collaborate on a really fun project. And I'm sure we got a lot of more fun, exciting things like to come. But any aspect of life, that same principle applies. And whatever you want to do, throw yourself in that community. If you want to get into real estate, talk to me. Let's go to the Jacksonville Real Estate Investors Association. I'm happy to bring you there. Wonderful people. Because when you start surrounding yourself by those people, right, you start kind of thinking like them, and you start learning from them and their experience. And it's great, the community that you have here, but I would encourage you, branch out maybe into one other community or somewhere else, and then you can bring that knowledge into this community. And then you grow this community with what you've gained elsewhere. And that's why sometimes people ask me, like, how are you so involved in different things? It's like, well, that's what keeps me going. Like, that's what keeps me excited to, share that knowledge with others and those experiences and all that. It all just is in that pursuit of life and happiness. And, we're all on that journey, and it's collaborating together, because it's not easy for anyone. Even those who look highly successful, you look at their Instagram, it seems like they're living life. But I promise you, they're going through it. In some way or some fashion, somebody's going through something. And so being there for each other, kindness is key, big on that. Just continue that. I definitely continue that, encourage it. And then mindset. Mindset is what is the difference maker in it all. Because you have to believe in it. If you don't believe in it, nobody else will for you. And that mindset comes from doing these 3 other principles, right? By taking that time for the mind and the body, staying consistent, and then being empowered by surrounding yourself with others who empower you. It's not about the home that you live in. It's not about the car that you drive. It's not even about the title that you have. I mean, I was an account manager for a huge corporate company, GE. I mean, everybody knows GE. By all accounts, I made it in life. I did it. But I wasn't fulfilled in what I did, and I realized I wasn't aligned to what I wanted to do. I always had a passion for filmmaking, and I was a hobby for the last 5 years, and I took that leap of faith. I built a passion for real estate. And then yoga. I mean, and meditation is what got me through those really, really difficult times. And I was just talking to Patrick about it. It's not the flexibility. That's not it, man. It's not about that. It's just about the release that we all feel and that we get, from the trauma, from the tension, from the stress, through that mind-body connection. So on the back of this worksheet, there's just a very little activity, and it's simple. And the only reason I do this is because I've personally experienced the power of just writing things down. And I don't have it up here, but I shared it yesterday, Daphne, in my resignation letter. And actually, I kind of discovered it the year prior to that, when I was the unhealthiest I've ever been, man. I have a picture here, but I was, the heaviest. I was borderline diabetic. I was dealing with a bunch of health issues. And this was me back in the day. And I realized I needed to make a shift. I needed to make a change. And so it started with the mindset, and it started with staying consistent and just doing that something 10 minutes a day. And so that activity here is just, what is going to be your physical activity? It can be a walk. It can be, and when I was feeling that way, I wrote down, hey, I want to get below 200 pounds. And by the end of that year, I was 199.9 pounds. And I was like, holy shit, this works. I was like, wow, this is incredible. I hit my goal. So then next year, I'm already thinking, okay, what am I going to do for next year? And I start with an intention. What's going to be that driving force? It was passion then. And I didn't know what the goals were. I didn't have any kind of real goals defined, but I had that intention set. And then about a month or 2 down the line, I realized, okay, I want to become a yoga teacher. I want to start a video production company. I want to get more involved in real estate. And so I wrote all of that down in my resignation letter to my boss. And that was kind of like my, as I call it, like a sacrificial motif. Like, what am I willing to give up to achieve who I want to be in life? And I was willing to give up that very secure dream job, some would call it, to pursue that dream. And I wrote it down, and sure enough, here we are a year later, and have hit all 3. I've already written down my intention for this year. I haven't written down the goals yet. I mean, one of them, public speaking, which check that box. But we got a couple other goals as well that I feel like are going to come to me, and they'll just hit you, right? So I encourage you all just to fill out each of these, starting off with what is going to be your physical activity. Because when you start with just that 10 minutes a day, a walk, a run, lifting, stretching, yoga, anything you'd like, you set that kind of almost contract to yourself, that commitment to your dream. And then 10 minutes of mindful activity. Like I mentioned, this could be meditation, this could be prayer, this could be journaling as well. Journaling is huge for just sometimes taking those thoughts that are all jumbled up in the head and putting them to paper. And I want you to think about one life challenge. Like, what are you currently facing that you feel like is maybe holding you back, that is causing you to be stuck? It can be a financial challenge. It can be maybe where a living situation challenge. I always encourage kind of thinking of like the 3 pillars, starting with the self. Is there something in the self that is holding you back, that is challenging you? And then you look at your circle of influence. Is there somebody around you, a person or something that is causing that sensation, that feeling that you feel stuck? And then you look at that final pillar, which is your environment. Is it the city that you're living in? Is it something within your environment that you need to change to be able to achieve those goals and live that dream? And perhaps through that process of that challenge, right, there's some kind of skill or something you have to learn to overcome that and get to it. So think about deeply what that skill is that you have to achieve in order to overcome that life challenge. And sometimes it's just as simple as doing it. Whatever that fear is or whatever that challenge is, the skill to learn is to do exactly what that fear is or that life challenge is. And now think about a community. So you have that challenge, whatever you're facing. Who can help you? Is there an organization? Is there a friend? Is there somebody that you can connect with that can be there to support you, empower you, and get you to achieve that dream?
Everybody should ride that First Coast Rotaract.
There you go. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, put a hand in there. Let's do it. And then the final thing, so fear. So fear, I heard this quote, and I love it, and I've been just sharing it with everyone ever since I heard it. It's false evidence appearing real. Because you create that fear yourself. It all starts in the mind. And so when I knew I was going to take that leap of faith, my fear was, hey, what if I don't get work? Or what if I don't get clients? Or what if, all these what ifs. Just got to do it, man. That's why I always wear this hat. Desi knows, John knows, everywhere I'm at, Allie knows, I'm always wearing just do it hat. You just got to do it. So write down that fear, whatever it may be. Maybe it could be being judged. I know that was something that was holding me back. Maybe it's that feeling of loneliness. But when you blow past that fear, man, the people you meet, the experiences that you have, the memories that you share, makes it all worth it. So I know this is a very simple activity, but it's those little simple things in life. Sometimes it's so easy to overcomplicate and overthink things. But just by simply starting off with small action, you can make drastic change over time, and you'll figure it out. So that's pretty much all I have to share. I definitely appreciate just the opportunity to kind of share a little bit of my story, hear about everybody's dreams in here. You guys have an incredible group, a lot of creatives, a lot of inspiration, and I'd encourage you all to see how you can work together to build together and grow together. Cool.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, E.
Yeah, thank you, John. I appreciate
Thanks
it.
for coming.
No problem. Thank you, guys.